Ever feel like you're just stuck? Like you're running in circles around a problem and can't find a way out? Well, today we're going to dive into a pretty provocative philosophy from a speaker named 19 Keys. He argues that the key to getting unstuck is all in how we think, breaking it down into what he calls masculine and feminine ways of processing reality.
So here's our game plan. First, we'll hit his big, striking claim. Then we'll get into the two ways of thinking. After that, we'll talk about what he calls being a ruler over self, look at the actual steps to get there, and wrap it all up with a really powerful metaphor. All right, let's jump right in. What's the problem this whole idea is even trying to tackle? Well, it really all kicks off with one single central argument. And here it is. This is the core claim. The idea is that a lot of young men today are, well, they're trapped processing problems in a way he defines as feminine. And in his view, this isn't just about having a different style. He sees it as a major mismatch that's actually causing anxiety and making it impossible for them to take action.
Okay, so what on earth does he actually mean by feminine versus masculine thinking? Let's unpack these two completely different ways of processing things as he lays them out.
So let's start with what he calls feminine thinking. According to this worldview, it's all about processing things through emotion. Think about it like this. You have one problem, and suddenly your mind creates this explosion of possibilities, just branching out and out and out. The focus tends to land on all the things that could possibly go wrong, and it's that giant wave of options that leads straight to worry, anxiety, and just feeling totally paralyzed.
Then, on the flip side, you've got masculine thinking. This is framed as being totally logical and based on a reward. So instead of making more options, the whole point is to actually cut them down. You intentionally shrink the possibilities to maybe one or two paths, that's it. It's all about being decisive and moving toward a very specific outcome.
Putting them next to each other like this really makes the difference pop, right? One way of thinking starts with emotion and just explodes outward, often into what-ifs and negatives. The other starts with logic and funnels everything down to a single positive goal. You could almost think of it as the difference between a creative flowing river and, a solid concrete foundation. And that brings us to a pretty powerful metaphor he uses. Feminine energy is like the ocean, huge, powerful, always moving, always flowing. And masculine energy, that's the mountain, solid, unmoving, totally grounded. Two very different but equally powerful forces. Okay, so we have these two different ways of thinking. But what's the point? What's the goal here? Well, that leads us right into our next section, the idea of becoming a ruler over self. The core idea here is that the ultimate man is a ruler. But, and this is super important, we're not talking about ruling over other people. Not at all. This is all about gaining total control over your own inner world. So what does this ruler actually rule? Well, number one, himself. He governs his own emotions so they don't govern him. He learns to kind of step back from all the chaotic thoughts. And by doing that, he becomes this rock, this stable, calm presence that people can actually count on, especially when everything's going crazy. I know this might sound a little bit out there, a little abstract, but the source actually lays out a super practical guide on how to build this kind of mindset. So let's get into the nitty-gritty, the actual steps he recommends. He calls it the daily regiment. Step one is all about order. You wake up and you know exactly what you need to do. No one has to tell you. Step two is discipline the body. Get a workout in, command your physical self. Step three is sharpen the mind. Spend some time reading or journaling. See the pattern? The whole point of this routine is to force logic and structure onto your day. It's a way to fight back against what he describes as that emotional, chaotic storm. And all of this discipline, all this structure, it all builds up to one final and honestly probably the most powerful metaphor in this whole philosophy. It's the idea of becoming the unshakable center of your own universe. And here's the line that really ties it all together. He's compared to the sun. Think about it. The sun doesn't move. It doesn't chase after the planets. It just is. It's the stable, gravitational center. And everything else, your emotions, events, other people, they all orbit around him. He's the source of the gravity, not the little satellite getting pulled around. So, this whole philosophy really leaves us with one big question to chew on. In your own life, in the way you operate day to day, are you the planet, constantly reacting, getting pulled into orbit by outside forces? Or are you the sun, that calm, steady, unwavering center of your own world?